Hello students. Today let's start our new topic, that is lines and angles. Let us start with some basic geometrical concepts which you have studied earlier in your previous classes also. Our first concept is of plane. What do you mean by plane? A plane is a flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. A plane does not have any length, breadth or thickness. You can give example of planes like a table, a floor, etc. Next is a point. What do you mean by a point? A point is represented by a dot which can be put by a pointed pencil or a pen. It also does not have any length, breadth or thickness. Next comes line segment. A line segment is a part of line only. It has two endpoints and it can be measured. It has fixed length. It cannot be extended in any direction. Next comes the ray. A ray has only one endpoint and it can be extended in the other direction. Next concept is of line. A line has no endpoint. It can be extended in both the directions infinitely. Then comes our collinear points and non-collinear points. Points that lie in a straight line are called collinear points, and the points which do not lie in a straight line are called in non-collinear points. Then comes parallel lines, perpendicular lines and intersecting lines. What are parallel lines? The two lines which remain at a constant distance, means like you can give an example of railway tracks. The lines which cannot meet anywhere are called parallel lines. Now comes the perpendicular lines. When the two lines intersect each other and pass from one common point and intersect at 90 degrees. When they cross each other, they make an angle of 90 degrees with one another. They are called perpendicular lines. Next comes our intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are those lines which cross each other at one common point. These are some figures shown here of parallel lines, intersecting lines and perpendicular lines. Then comes the concept of concurrent lines and non-concurrent lines. If all lines pass through a common point, when there are more than two lines, like 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, or more than 5 lines, when they all pass from one single point, they are called concurrent lines. Otherwise, they are called non-concurrent lines. Then comes the concept of angles. What is an angle? An angle is made up of two rays which meet at one common point, and that common point is called vertex. And the two rays by which an angle is formed are called the two arms of an angle. These are the various types of angles which you have studied in your previous classes also, like acute angle, which is less than 90 degree, right angle, an angle which is equal to 90 degree, obtuse angle, which is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree, straight angle, which is equal to 180 degree, reflex angle, which is more than 180 degree and less than 360 degree, complete angle, which is equal to 360 degree, and zero angle, which is equal to 0 degree. Next comes the concept of complementary angles. What are complementary angles? When the sum of two angles is equal to 90 degree, then the two angles are said to be complementary to each other. For example, if you have an angle equal to 40 degree, then its complement will be 50 degree, because 90 degree minus 40 degree will be 50 degree. So the sum of two angles should be always equal to 90 degree. Then the angles are said to be complementary to each other. Then comes supplementary angles. When the sum of two angles is equal to 180 degree, then the angles are said to be supplementary to each other. For example, if you have an angle of 135 degree, then the other supplementary angle will be 180 degree minus 135, that is equal to 45 degree. Next comes adjacent angles. The adjacent angles have three conditions. It is a pair of angles having one common vertex, one common arm in the center, and the two non-common arms which lie on the either side of the common arm. These are called adjacent angles, like you can see here in the figure then that in angle ADC there are two angles lying in between. One is angle ADB and the other is angle BDC. Both the angles have D point common and BD arm common to each other. And there are two non-common arms also, AD and DC. Next comes the concept of linear pair. What do you mean by linear pair? First of all, a pair word means only two, not more than two. Means in this concept there are two angles whose sum is also equal to 180 degree and they are also adjacent to each other. When two angles are adjacent to each other and their sum is 180 degree, means when they lie on a straight line, then the two angles are said to be a linear pair. Next comes the vertically opposite angles. These angles are formed by the two intersecting lines. When the two lines cross each other at a single point, then the angles formed are four in number. You can see in the figure also there are four angles formed when the two lines are intersecting, A, B, C and D. In this you can see that angle A is opposite to angle C and angle B is opposite to angle D. So These are called vertically opposite angles, and vertically opposite angles are always equal to each other. Next comes the concept of angles lying on a straight line. If more than two angles lie on a straight line, then the sum of all those angles is also equal to 180 degree, because on a straight line when there are only two angles, then they form a linear pair. But when there are more than two angles, suppose there are three angles or four angles lying on a straight line, then the sum of all these angles is equal to 180 degree, because they are lying on a straight line. Now come some examples related to the complementary angle and supplementary angle. You can find out the complement of these angles, like our first question is, what is the complement of 25 degree? When the word complement comes here, it means the sum of two angles is equal to 90 degree. And the one angle is given to you here is 25 degree. And the other angle you can find out by subtracting it from 90 degree. So the other complement angle will become 90 degree minus 25 degree, that is equal to 65 degree. Let's see the other example in which we have to find the supplement of these angles. So the word supplement means when the sum of two angles is equal to 180 degree. If one angle is given to you here, suppose it is 75 degree, then you can find out the other angle by subtracting it from 180 degree. So 180 degree minus 75 degree is equal to 105 degree. So the other supplementary angle is 105 degree. Similarly, you can find out the supplementary angle of all these parts. Next example comes of the adjacent angles. As we all know that what are adjacent angles? Adjacent angles are those who have common vertex and the common arm. Here you can see that EOC and COB are adjacent to each other. Then COB and POA are also adjacent to each other. Similarly, we can see EOC is adjacent to COA and AOB is adjacent to BOE. Like this, we can find out all the adjacent angles. In the next example, we have to find out the value of x. There are two parts A and B. Let us discuss about the first part. In part A, there are four angles given: x degree, 105 degree, 65 degree and 75 degree. From the figure you can see that the sum of all these angles is equal to 360 degree, because all these four angles are forming a complete angle. So we can write here x degree plus 105 degree plus 65 degree plus 70 degree is equal to 360 degree. From this equation we can find the value of x now. But in the second part, what you can see that four angles are lying on the straight line, and the straight line always forms an angle of 180 degree. So in the second part, we can write x degree plus 25 degree plus 35 degree plus 45 degree is equal to 180 degree. Angles lying on a straight line always forms the sum 180 degree. From this we can find out the value of x. example related to intersecting lines. As we all know, when the two lines intersect each other, they form vertically opposite angles. Like in this figure, you can see that B is equal to 155 degree and A is equal to 25 degree because they are vertically opposite to each other. This concept we can put only in the case of intersecting lines and nowhere else. Next comes the example of two supplementary angles, angle P and angle Q, which are in the ratio 5:13. So angle P and angle Q are supplementary. From this we can write that the sum of angle P and angle Q is equal to 180 degree because they are supplementary to each other. Also it is given that angle P and angle Q are in the ratio 5:13. So when we replace angle P, we can write 5x in place of angle P, and in place of angle Q, we can write 13x. So 5x plus 13x is equal to 180 degree. That is equal to 18x is equal to 180 degree. So x is equal to 180 divided by 18, that is 10. So let us find angle P and angle Q now. Angle P is equal to 5x, so 5 multiplied by 10, that is 50 degree, and angle Q is equal to 13x, that is 13 multiplied by 10, that is equal to 130 degree. In this example also, we can see that there are four types of angles and all these angles are lying on a straight line. So easily we can write that the sum of all these angles is equal to 180 degree because these angles are lying on a straight line. So sum of these angles is equal to 180 degree. From this we can find out the value of x, which comes to be 20 degree, and then we can find out all the angles which are given here in the figure. Let us recapitulate now what we have done today. Some basic geometrical concepts. Then comes the angle, what is an angle and the types of angles and the examples related to these types of angles.